Halloween. Probably after Halloween by the time you see this. But anyways, it's vacuum of the month time, and I used a $1,600 in vacuum for the whole month. So we're going to talk about that because that's an interesting thing. And if you're not familiar with the channel, definitely go check out some of our other reviews. This is more of a Q&A and a mail call, but we'll talk a bit about this machine and my impressions after using it a month. I'll also eventually publish a full review on the TriStar CS, MG, MG1, MG2, MG3 platform because this thing has been around town. You like books? Well, me too. But on my on-to-go lifestyle, you don't always have time to read the books, especially the important ones. So that's why I'm offering my viewers Audibles, which is Amazon's book service, the audiobook service. You can take your books to go. If you don't have time to read, you can read it in your car by listening to it. So you get a 30-day free trial with the link below. You know, it's the world's largest audiobook library, being Amazon. It's easy. You've already got the app installed. So go click the link below, get 30 days for free. It's $14.99 a month after that if you like the service. If not, cancel anytime. Talk about the bags, the coefficiency, which bag is better, and what you should be clicking on the link below. So as you know, to subsidize the monetization and stuff on my channel, I've partnered with Amazon as part of the affiliates program, which means if you see a video, I'm going to have parts and bags and stuff below in the links. These are the same sort of things I would link to before. In fact, most of my videos with those links, I am actually replacing manufacturer links with Amazon links. So either way, I was going to put those links there because that's how we communicate on the internet. So that's there for now. The other thing is we have a Patreon. And Patreon's a way for you to support our channel, and we're eventually going to start a vacuum lottery on there. So definitely go check out the Patreon link if you want to help see ads go away on our channel. Below, I'm also going to have links to some of the items in this video as well. So until monetization gets kind of back on my channel, you're going to see those ads, and if you want those to go away, go check on our Patreon page where I show exclusive videos, exclusive content. I have the ability for you to get a working vacuum gauge on there as well. Now, talking about the working vacuum gauge, with all that out of the way, thanks for not clicking off my video, by the way. With the working vacuum gauge, we're able to see the efficiency of the bag. And I've got that other bag here, and it's full. It's this full. This is a HEPA bag. The first one I used with the TriStar was a HEPA bag. The second one I used was a non-HEPA bag, and I want to explain that and all that goodness right there for you so you can see that. We're going to talk about bags. So you can see stuff in there. The second one's pretty full, and this is only about a month's use, and I was out of town for about a week, so there's that. And again, I have a dog and 2 cats, and it's just me and my wife. Right now the mother-in-law's in town, but that doesn't really count because that means there's only one more room getting really used in my house. So I'm going to show you the working vacuum on this. And I've got the adapter right here, so we're able to just click this on. Let's make sure this is nice and sealed. And that's closed. Let's see where we're at. So we're about 25, 24 right now. And I'm going to put in a series of bags and we're going to test them. And the EnviroCare paper bags, a couple of you, particularly one of our Patreon supporters, had mentioned that they were ripping, and he thought it was because he had replaced the motor in his... no, these ones ripped. Nothing really was picked up that shouldn't. So I really don't recommend these bags, these EnviroCare bags. Even though they filter better, the micro line seems to rip, which defeats the purpose of it. Anyways, I'll put links below to the bags I do recommend, but I want to try a new one just real quick to show you with the working vacuum just how much this loses its efficiency. It's not like a Miele or the 0G or some of these other ones. And you can see the suction's a little bit better. I hadn't really filled that bag enough to super lose its efficiency. But let's put a HEPA bag in there. Brand new HEPA bag in the TriStar. Let's see that. A little bit better. Now let's see the full one, because that's the thing I noticed immediately and why I went to change it. Sealed. So you can see the needle's gone down a little bit. Maybe not quite lost its efficiency like I was thinking, but my point is you do notice it when you're using it with that. And these HEPA bags seem to hold up better than the paper ones, which, you know, is what we expected. This machine will need to be cleaned out a little bit before I really put a new bag in, because this has probably helped to its loss of efficiency as well, because that bag ripped. Now going on to the rear of the machine, let's just for fun, we're just going to put one of these back in so that this will seal. Now going back to the rear of the machine, on this, there's a filter under here, and this has done a fabulous job. I've had no odors since I've serviced the machine, though it's pretty black, even though it has an active carbon filter in here. It says to change every 6 months. After a month of use, or 2 bags, that's what I've gotten. So, and this isn't the most straightforward thing to change. And I want to use this as a segue to talk about the parent company at TriStar, which is Electrolux, and I'm not going to get, but I'd love to have that story. But they've used a filter like this before. As you can see, there's a size difference there, particularly to give you an idea how big this is in comparison. So I think the bigger the exhaust filter to a certain point, the more efficient. So the Electrolux that was sold at the time, which I have kind of side by side, there are a couple different Electroluxes sold at the time, but for the sake of this video, we're going to say these were sold, and the prices were pretty comparable at the time. So what you got with the Electrolux that you did not get with the TriStar, one was a cord rewind. And one of the biggest complaints I would hear from customers, and I would say my sister had and everybody else I talked to, is the cord storage on this. It's like they added a couple feet after they designed the cord hook. So it's just not very good. Also, they want you to store it like this in the closet. This is the proper way of storing a TriStar in the closet. And that's why on this, compared to older models, we have this little flap right here. Now, that also means the bumper has to be square, which means it keeps catching on things. I think that's kind of it's a bad design. You're not going to be doing that. However, the on and off switch is in a great place, as you see. It's heavy. It's made out of Magnolite, which, you know, in the 1930s when these were designed originally was great. Lightweight material. Everything was cast aluminum or steel, so Magnolite was this new space age material. But You know, in the 80s, Electrolux went to all plastic machines pretty much, and in the 70s they really pioneered that. Now this machine next to it's about the same age, like I said, and it's plastic, and it's significantly lighter when you pick it up, which makes it a little easier to use, a little bit easier to maneuver. And the reason this was made metal, the only reason I can think of, is when they're selling it door to door. That's the pitch. Is this is metal, it's going to last forever. Never mind, it's got a bunch of plastic bits that are probably going to break, and you kind of made it worse by making it metal in this case. Because, again, the body isn't really something that's going to benefit from that. And the proof in case of this is you can see that where it's cracked on the lid there, and my sister did that somehow, but that's what happened. So I can see that the metal really benefits the machine. So the polymer doesn't have any cracks, even though it's the same age, and this one's actually had a pretty rough life, though it's been somewhat cleaned up by a collector. So that's something with the Electrolux. Now, it wasn't just in the body of the canister that the TriStar's got the short end of the stick. When we talk about the nozzles, I'm just going to tilt this down a little bit. So the nozzles, we noticed that there was a light missing. Well, that's all right. But there's something else missing that's of somewhat importance. Now, if we look at the bottom of these, you notice they have the same brush roller design. They are very much the same, except this is glass reinforced. This is glass reinforced. The top of this is that Magnalite, which means the top housing can crack, and it makes it heavier than it needs to be, especially in a nozzle where you're using it. Now, the feature I'm talking about that's missing is the height adjustment. So the Electrolux pushes significantly easier, especially on taller carpet, than the TriStar. So that's something that's huge. A lot of people are going to overlook this. A lot of people don't even know that there's a height adjustment on the power nozzle of the Electrolux, but it is there. They use the same motor, same brush roller, same controls. Having a light would be nice, and these are both really low power heads, as I'll show here. But really, this power head, even though it's low, it doesn't have a light. This is as low and it has a light, so I'd like to have that feature on there. And then the lightweight of the polymer sure is nice. Both of these have the same polymer neck that tends to break. They're not interchangeable. Oddly enough, at first, they made a different fitting on there. As you can see, these are not interchangeable, though they look like they should be. And that was so that to kind of distinguish between the two brands. Now, on the later TriStars, they actually use this Electrolux fitting, which helps increase airflow a little bit. So that's kind of a factoid about that. So those are some places where the TriStar really got the short end of the stick for the Electrolux. And the other place that the short end was really given, and they later would remedy this, but I have an early one, was this floor tool. And as I talked about earlier, the floor tool, when it's on the wand, I'm sure this is in frame here, when it's on the wand is significantly shorter. But there's no way to make the wand longer. So what I ended up doing was taking that little adapter, which adds a little bit of length. I took my favorite third-party floor tool, which actually isn't really third-party. I'm putting it on there, and it's almost as tall, not quite like that. So this makes it, when you're over 6 feet, a little bit easier than, say, this tool all the way down there, having to use it. So that's how I used it on my bare floor. Speaking of bare floor, let's insert the clip of what it sounds like on the bare floor. It's really loud when it's not on. This is probably the loudest vacuum I've ever used in off position. Maybe the Eureka Mighty Might is this loud. And it's deceptively loud because when you hear this vacuum making all these noises on your floor, you think, oh my gosh, it must be scratching the floor. But actually, it's just the clunkiness of these front wheels. They're actually, the rubber and all that is intact. Now that brings me to my next point, which is how you do not damage the hose or the handle, because when you park this in the upright position, it is incredibly unstable. It has no locking notch or detent, so the slightest whatever causes this to fall over. Again, because of how freely, there's no detent. If there was a detent in here, it would solve a lot of that. The other thing is this hose is incredibly short, which means I end up having to carry the damn thing a lot more often than I would any other canister. So the hose is incredibly short. It's a complaint we have on a lot of canisters, but this particular one maybe takes the cake of the hose being just too short. Another foot on this hose would make or break a lot of things in this canister. Well, before we wrap up this vacuum of the month and my experiences using this TriStar EXL or CS1 or CS or MG2, MG3, MG1. Again, I'm using all these names because this $1,600 vacuum, it's gone by a lot of names. Sometimes it has a silver paint job, sometimes it has this black paint job. It is the same machine. Though inside they've made the motors progressively less powerful. I hear the newest one is slightly more powerful, but there's not good sources on those right now. So we'll have to find out really about that. And if you have a vacuum you want to send to me for review, we do that. I always love getting stuff at our P.O. box. So appreciate that. I wanted to read some comments because that's one of my favorite things about having a YouTube channel, is interacting with my audience here and seeing all that. Now, as you know, it's been a year since we did the Vacuum of the Month project, and before I get to the comments here, the Vacuum of the Month project's been interesting. It's given me a real different perspective, not just on the bench, but using this stuff in my house. You know, this TriStar wasn't actually that bad to use. It's the short hose and the bumper and stuff. And the small bag is just not appropriate for my size, my house size. All right, let's wrap things up with a few comments that were notable. One of them was this poorly written comment by KCM731K. I don't know if that's a part number or what. And the comment is, it's got a lot of misspelling and bad grammar, even by my standards, which are, well, let's just say it's 2019, they're pretty low. So, whatever happened to JUS, I'm assuming that means just, letting your hands get dirty, then washing them. This world is getting so pansy-assed, LOL. People these days it says, people these, nitrite gloves, not these days. And then he goes on, nowadays, like they are performing heart surgery. You are not a doctor. It's a damn vacuum cleaner. I know, spelled with a lowercase I. And then you, just the lowercase u, feel more important with them on, but ULL, I don't actually know what that means. Be okay if we get a little lit, whatever that means. Dirt on your hands, EERKS, me. And there's a period between the U and the, I think it arcs me. So that comment. Well, first of all, you've never really worked with your hands. If you know, a lot of the chemicals and things you use and a lot of things you find in the vacuums don't exactly wash off your hands. Vacuums get pretty nasty, and I think my channel's got a lot of that going on. Particularly some of the things I use to remove paint marks and stuff are really bad for your hands. So it's not about being pansy, it's about actually not being able to wipe some of this stuff off your hands, especially some of these modern lubricants. They just don't come clean. So yeah, that comment was lovely. Really appreciated that comment. The next comment I got, and I got this for maybe for 14 hours. This was posted straight to a bunch of my videos, and of course went straight to my spam filter because, you know, the hateful comments don't go very long. And it was it was some sort of message addressing politics. And I'm not even going to bring the point up of the politics, because I don't bring politics up on this channel. This is not a political channel. This is a vacuum channel. We talk about vacuums. Now, those of you who have been following me for a long time, I would like just your help. If you can think of a video where politics were brought up or there was a background conversation happening at the vacuum store, definitely let me know so I can try to edit that out, because I don't want any sort of political anything on any of my videos. We're just not doing that on this channel, though I've contemplated starting another channel for that. So that being said, we're just not discussing that ever on this channel, no matter how heated things get. Maybe if you like hearing me rant, maybe I'll start another channel for that. But they called me a douchebag, and then went on to say something that was historically true, but yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But anyways, so think about, before you manually go on your phone and spam a channel, it's going right to a spam filter. That's silly. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Next thing was more of a conversation I had with a gentleman out of Malaysia who claimed he worked for Dyson, and I had posted this comment with this lady's t-shirt that said "bad idea," and she was holding a Dyson vacuum, and I thought that was hysterical. I said, I wish Dyson engineers would see this, and apparently a Dyson engineer did see this. And of course, I have videos explaining the bad ideas about the Dyson stick vacuums. Actually, I think stick vacuums are a bad idea in general in their current format for the most part. That's my 2 cents. That's my rant about that. But I gave him a nice blue or red pill option, and I may have accidentally red pilled him. Of course, I would never expect Dyson to, throw a vacuum bag or something like that on a vacuum, because that's their reputation. But it was nice conversating with the actual Dyson engineer. That was quite interesting. Speaking in engineers, let's talk about a comment I keep seeing over and over again. And that is, what chemical I use to remove scuffs and stuff from vacuums. That's a question that you can find on our Patreon page, along with a lot of other good information that we just put behind that Patreon page, trying to keep this channel going. Hopefully that will be a temporary thing, but until then, that's where you're going to find that information. And I had another comment about you wouldn't be too happy if I threw a 50-year-old vacuum around on a bench. And again, I must apologize for my bad camera work of having a GoPro basically just sitting on the bench, which made everything seem a little bit more shaky than it really was. But anybody who knows me knows I'm really not throwing anything around. The next thing I just do want to address in the comment section is, if you post a link to a different channel, that goes straight to spam. Don't post links in the comment section. It goes straight to spam. And that's on any YouTube channel. Just a heads up. There's my YouTube insight. Speaking of YouTube insight, there has been some channel changes and stuff like that, and algorithm changes. I like to think I've brought you guys better content. Maybe I haven't, maybe I have. Let me know in the comments below. But my view count has gone way down, but my advertising revenue and actually how long people are viewing my videos has gone way up. And this isn't just like 1 month, this is like the past 6 months. So you're going to see some changes on the channel based on that, trying to please the YouTube overlords to a certain extent. I hate that that's the way it is. So some of these repairs where I show the full scale, maybe hour repair, those are going to... I am going to do some holiday specials. I'm probably going to buy a vacuum from Walmart and review it. Patreon supporters probably know which one I'm going to buy because I had them decide. That's kind of the cool thing about that, is it's a great way for you to interact with me. So I just want to throw that out there, that due to the YouTube overlords, we are going to be changing a few things on the channel. We recently had 2 mini-meets with the different groups of vacuum collectors. I don't have a lot of footage from that. I was going to throw some drunken footage up of me trying to interview Aunt Sylvia, but that girl was a mess that night. We're not gonna put that up there. So yeah, that's what's going on with the channel, with YouTube and all that. Oh, one more thing. Let's announce vacuum of the month. So I might have to stop doing vacuum of the month, as weird as that is. Again, that has to do with what's working, what's keeping the channel. So I want my help. Anybody who sits through my videos this long, there's a couple things you can do that really will help the channel and help boost the algorithm that are free for you to do. One is, if I post a video on Facebook, hit that thumbs up button. That really helps. And repost it somewhere. Repost a couple of my videos somewhere. That really helps. Now I know I believe her name is Cap. You restore VW vans and stuff. Cool guy, does other vacuum videos. He's reposted a couple of my videos on Reddit. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate everybody's help last month, helping to purge Reddit of that troll. Though do keep an eye out. Usually trolls come back after about a month or so. This is my personal experience with that. So yeah, if you see my videos, even if just like 10, 20 of y'all repost these things out of the thousands who see these videos over the course of their lifespan, definitely go repost that. Makes a big difference. Hitting that like button makes a huge difference. Speaking of that like button, I'm going to put a link below to my Kirby review, which has gotten really high in the YouTube rankings, but its thumb up, thumb down rate is kind of funky. So I know it's hard to do with our smartphones, but definitely if you make that if a couple of you would make that effort, like again 10, 20, these are small numbers, will make a big difference of hitting that thumb up button. So I really would appreciate everybody who does that. So vacuum of the month, and I've got you a hint here. It's going to be a central vac. My mother-in-law's in town, and I'm going to vacuum this whole month with my central vac, and we're going to be shampooing the carpets. So I think really the vacuum of the month is going to be the shampooing, which I'm going to make a whole video on what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it, if you're interested in that. Until then, stay awesome. Hope you had a great Halloween, and don't eat too much candy.